A daring protester dramatically took down the official Islamic Republic flag fluttering atop the Iranian embassy in London during the fiery anti-regime demonstrations that erupted across the British capital on December 10, capturing global attention with this bold symbolic act of defiance. The determined demonstrator immediately replaced Iran's current revolutionary flag with a historic lion and sun emblem strongly associated with Iran's monarchical pre-1979 revolution era, instantly igniting cheers from assembled exile crowds waving pre-revolutionary banners. A widely circulated video report documenting this dramatic flag replacement incident at the heavily secured diplomatic compound was enthusiastically shared across social media platforms by US President Donald Trump himself from his official account. President Trump's high-profile public post amplifying the embassy flag incident was immediately interpreted across international media as yet another unmistakable and forceful expression of his vocal support for revolutionary regime change sweeping through the streets of Tehran and beyond. This provocative incident unfolding right outside Iran's official London diplomatic mission swiftly triggered intense outrage and diplomatic agitation back in Tehran, prompting Iranian foreign ministry officials to formally summon the British ambassador for a stern official reprimand. This latest symbolic provocation arrives precisely as Iran's embattled clerical regime continues signaling through state media and official statements that it intends to show absolutely no signs of retreat or compromise in the face of rapidly escalating and increasingly violent nationwide protests demanding systemic overthrow. Iranian security forces loyal to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei have issued fresh and chilling public threats against all demonstrators, while overseas activists and human rights monitors have flagged credible reports documenting over 500 confirmed protester killings at the hands of regime enforcers since demonstrations ignited on December 28. Meanwhile, a broad coalition of Western democratic governments alongside leading international human rights organizations have issued scathing public condemnations targeting Iran's brutal and systematic crackdown on what began as peaceful economic protests but morphed into existential revolutionary fervor. The United Kingdom, acting in concert with key international diplomatic partners across Europe and North America, has formally slammed and vehemently denounced the Iranian regime's alleged mass killing of unarmed civilian protesters exercising their universal human rights in cities nationwide. Yvette Cooper said, and I quote, "Alongside our international partners, we have condemned the killing of Iranian protesters and urged the Iranian authorities to respect the fundamental rights of their people, to take part in peaceful protests, without fear of violence or reprisals." Unquote. US President Donald Trump has scheduled a critical high-level briefing directly from America's top military commanders regarding a full spectrum of possible forceful responses to Iran's ongoing deadly crackdown against defenseless protesters, according to exclusive reporting from a Wall Street Journal. This pivotal White House meeting, originally planned for December 13, will comprehensively discuss and evaluate potential military airstrikes along with sophisticated cyber weapons explicitly targeting key nodes throughout the Iranian military's command, control, and Revolutionary Guard infrastructure networks. On December 10, the New York Times reported that President Trump had already been formally presented with a classified menu of detailed military intervention options targeting the Iranian regime, though the commander-in-chief is strategically yet to publicly commit or authorize any specific kinetic response. As Washington meticulously weighs its array of complex strategic options amid mounting domestic pressure to act decisively, Tehran state media has relentlessly continued to pin exclusive blame on Israel and the United States for covertly orchestrating, funding, and arming the explosive protests threatening regime survival. President Donald Trump has repeatedly issued crystal-clear and increasingly urgent public threats promising to retaliate with overwhelming force directly against Iran's top political and military leadership should security forces continue massacring peaceful economic protesters transformed into regime change revolutionaries.
There seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it. And we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
Meanwhile, Iranian military spokespersons have publicly indicated through regime-aligned channels that Tehran's armed forces stand fully prepared to immediately target and strike vulnerable U.S. military bases scattered across the Persian Gulf region should Washington launch any form of direct attack against the Islamic Republic's sovereign territory. What began across Iran as spontaneous economic demonstrations triggered by skyrocketing inflation and collapsing rial value have dramatically escalated over recent weeks into thunderous mass calls for complete revolutionary regime change overthrowing the clerical system that has ruled since the 1979 Islamic Revolution.